You know, it's the wind up. It has to. This is the Black Powder Podcast, coming at you live and direct. Your salty tears season my life. It's the Black Powder Podcast. Hello, and once again, it's on. This is the Black Powder Podcast, the only real libertarian podcast that has ever existed, hosted by Marcus Matthews, the only real libertarian. I want to thank my co-host tonight. Tub is going to be on a little bit later. But I want to thank Eric Parker, Bull Liberty, showing up. How you doing tonight, Eric?
I'm doing good. And I was going to say, yeah, I am the co-hostess with the mostest. But I also wasn't here last week. I was about to be like, and I am the more consistent co-host. But I've been consistently inconsistent lately. So I apologize.
Well, no, it's all good.
Having fun.
I heard you were in DC setting up the Freedom 250 American Fair thing, and I heard that.
I wasn't just setting it up. I was a huge fan. It was a great crowd, all 8 of us holding it down. I got paid to set up, paid to be there. I'm just kidding. I was not there. I was actually visiting family in Knoxville. But anyways,
hell yeah. We have a good friend coming on tonight, and strong hell yeah back at you, buddy.
Hell yeah, brother.
Well, we got another comment.
Who's that? Some nerd.
He's one of my best friends. Free.
Yeah.
How you doing, my good man? Shout out to Joe Hanoush, the producer of this show. He oftentimes books us some of the best guests that you could ever imagine, and that includes tonight. I just want to say hello to my homegirl Amity, because I am her favorite libertarian, and she had some fire on X today. If you don't know, it's Amity Lee. Hold on, I'm about to give her a super shout out. If I could click the right
there. I feel like if you just look, first off, if you're watching this podcast and you're not following Amity, are you a real libertarian? Am I right?
No, I'm her favorite libertarian. Everybody knows I'm the only real libertarian. I don't know why we have to have this discussion every single week, but eventually it'll happen. Can I tell a funny story real quick? So
if I don't laugh, then no.
It's not really a funny story, but
all right, just a boring story. Go ahead.
Yeah, Lars texted me earlier this week, and he was like, he was telling somebody how he's a libertarian, and that person told him, well, I heard you're not the only real libertarian, because that's Marcus. And I was like, that's pretty damn cool right there, because finally I'm getting my accolades after all these years of hard work and pushing through with this liberty movement. People are truly
just two California bros arguing over who's the real libertarian. That's the most unlibertarian thing I've ever heard.
Now, Free, I don't know if you guys have watched Are You Smarter Than a Politician? It's probably the second best libertarian podcast after this one. I keep dropping down the list for some reason. I'm now down to his 12th favorite black libertarian.
Yeah. Hey, I think that's a good thing.
I didn't know there was 12 of us. I honestly didn't. At any rate,
I was just going to say, I feel like that's a good thing for the party. Either we're recruiting more black libertarians, which, Marcus, I feel like that's a major goal of yours, or
it is.
Or you're just getting worse, one or the other.
One or the other. Well, everybody knows my feelings on black people. First of all, 90s hip hop made me a libertarian, because you listen to Public Enemy, you listen to Wu-Tang, you listen to a Tribe Called Quest. They imparted I don't know about that guy. That's not really hip hop. But you know, I always say black people are naturally libertarian. We like guns, we like weed. We know the government is fucked up and is always out to get us. And we know the government gets in the way. Our schools suck in the hoods and all of that stuff. Why are you still voting for these same people that tell you, oh, we're gonna fix it? 4 years later, oh, we're gonna fix it. So with that being said, I'm going to bring in our guest. And tonight we're going to my birth state because I really didn't live there too long. But we're going to the great state of Texas. I'm really happy saying that because we had too many damn Commonwealths on this podcast the last few weeks, and they're throwing a cross up. Real quick, happy birthday to Thomas Hole. That's right. I was listening to NWA yesterday. Back to our guest. So we're going to the Texas House District 15, which is in Montgomery County, Texas. This is a local election for the state. And here in the Black Powder Podcast, we think it's very important for libertarians to run locally to show how we can govern, which is not governing you, letting you live your life to the best of your ability without being an impediment to said mission. So without further ado, I want to bring in our guest tonight, Jessi Cowart.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming.
Go up, Tub.
Speaking of, you know, I'm going to refrain.
Every time, Tub, can you hear us?
I don't know if I want to, but yes, I can.
All right, good. We can hear you too. All right.
Jessi, this is Tub.
Hey, Tub.
Hey.
We don't have time for introductions, Tub. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Make it happen. Go. Just go. Keep doing what you're doing.
Just. All right, Jessi, it's great to have you. I actually like the way you introduced this backstage earlier. We were like, is it a local election? And I don't want to take the words out of your mouth or misquote you, but you said it's as local as an office for state government can be. Is that fairly accurate the way you worded that?
Yeah. So it's State House District 15, but the district is wholly contained within Montgomery County. So it is for all intents and purposes, a county election. It's just state level.
Gotcha. Awesome. And I love that. And I like the energy. We love our local candidates, our local libertarian candidates here. We're going to start this podcast off the way we start every episode, I guess. I'm going to have you a 3-part question here. And it goes, what was your aha moment that, hey, I'm a libertarian? When and why did you decide to join the Libertarian Party? And when and why did you decide to run for office as a libertarian?
Okay. I think my aha moment, I'm going to show my age a little bit here. But back in the early aughts, I was an undergrad at the University of Texas, hook 'em. And I was big into the anti-war movement there. That was right after 9/11. We were about to invade Iraq. So we were having the Iraq 2.0. And there was a big anti-war movement on campus, and I was a part of that. And obviously, very much ideologically aligned with everybody who was in that movement. But whenever we talked about other things in terms of politics, policy, I realized that I was very much not aligned with a lot of my anti-war brethren, particularly in an economic sense. And I just really kind of considered myself an independent. So a buddy of mine told me that guy named Ron Paul was going to be speaking at the LBJ School of Public Affairs, and hey, come with me, come check this out. I think you'll dig it. And I went, and I had never heard of the Libertarian Party. I didn't know what a libertarian was. But I came out of hearing Ron Paul speak there in Austin circa 2002. And I was just like, that's it. That's me. That's my home. And I've really spent a lot of time just reading into, Bastiat, Hayek, and I just kind of really delved into it. But I also kind of fell into that whole wasted vote fallacy for a few years after that too. Like, I was like, I'm afraid, I'm going to give the vote to, so-and-so, and did the whole thing that drives us libertarians crazy, right? I couldn't fully commit. I would vote Libertarian down ballot, but I would usually, pick one or the other based on the candidate at the top of the ballot. And it was around 2012 where I stopped voting for the uniparty period, went full on libertarian voting, and then really started getting involved in the party kind of on the periphery around 2016, and then really came into the party full force with the Joe Jorgensen Spike Cohen campaign in 2020. And that's where I decided I was actually going to not just be a libertarian voter and kind of be on the periphery, but actually be part of the party in the process. So I've been doing that for several years now. Was last term the vice chair of the Libertarian Party of Texas. I sat on the Libertarian National Committee last term as an alternate for Region South. And I decided I wanted to make that shift from party office to political office. And it's something I've been thinking about for a while. My kids graduated from high school in 2023. So they are at college. They're about to go into their senior year of college now. And it felt like the right time. I wanted to make sure that my kids were off and settled and, thriving. And I always said that if I was going to do this, I wanted to do it right. And I wanted to have the time to commit to it. So now was the time. Just been looking around politicians at Montgomery County for a number of years, just not being really impressed, and just kind of had that moment where I was just like, why not me? So here I am.
I'm not flirting, but I honestly thought you were in your late 20s.
Oh, no, I'm 45.
Yeah, because when you mentioned age, I knew Tub was going to get mad at him being the oldest guy on this podcast.
When she said that, I was going to stop her and be like, hey, Marcus is here, and he takes his age very sensitively. Like, Marcus gets set off pretty, like, you start mentioning
I was going to say,
and he starts, listen, what tends to happen after we have these conversations and age gets brought up? So Marcus will text me during the show and be like, Tub, can you just stop? Can you make him stop? This is, and you can tell it's like, it's hurting him. And so then he'll call me after and be like, Tub, listen, and you can hear like the tears, like so I'm like, I was gonna have to stop you. I thought when you started talking about, well, back when I'm thinking, Marcus is gonna get set off here. But Marcus, good job toughening up, Buckaroo. Nice job, buddy.
Yeah. Well,
and every time we remind Marcus he's the oldest.
I am not the oldest.
He always says something like black don't crack or something.
It doesn't.
Right?
It doesn't. And I'm not black. I'm paper sack brown. Anyway, you're the same age as Spike. Paper sack brown. Write that one down. That's a good one.
I don't know that we're allowed to say that.
Yeah, that is our word or our descriptive term. So yeah, this at any rate.
So hang on. If I just randomly say this, am I going to get in trouble?
Well, I mean, you're talking about a person, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. But you're about the same age. I think you're the same age as Spike. He just recently had a birthday, and he's right
44
on that.
or 45.
I think he
turned 44.
44. Yeah. Okay.
I thought he was 81 or 82. Well, anyway, you're right on the cusp when he was born. I'm about to make a point here. Stand by, Tup. But you're right on that cusp.
I don't have that kind of time left in me.
Right on that cusp. Where you're Gen X, which is the best generation that has ever existed in the history of mankind, and millennials, where the jury's still out a little bit. But
we're Zennials.
Zennials. That's what he said. So you have the correct mixture.
Had an analog childhood, but came of age in the digital era.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Only a tech person, because I say that exact same thing, where we saw the transition from analog to digital. So we were that bridge. At any rate, did we finish Eric's 3-part question?
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, I had a decent follow-up, then I forgot it. But I think it was kind of we'll get to it. This is a great conversation.
Remember that one time you would be great on this show and then you forgot?
Yeah, and I should have wrote it down because I was like, this is, and then I didn't want to,
Look, y'all kind of give me a hard time because I write stuff down, but at least I don't have to go.
I was writing
stuff down. I write stuff down too.
Yeah. I didn't write down. I think it was something like.
Eric's getting there. He's getting there.
You. All right, I got it. All right. Yeah,
okay.
Got
all right. So Pass the mic to Tub.
mentioned.
Okay,
I got this.
so
You
we'll start with
mentioned-
stuff.
Go ahead.
Are you done? Listen, as soon as you remember it, because I know you're getting to that age
Go
also.
ahead.
As soon as
Yeah,
you remember it,
ahead.
chime
Yeah,
in.
you're
come back,
you're
okay?
next.
All
We're
right,
not
so
blaming
a
my
couple
memory
things real
on
quick.
age.
Can we move on now?
Tub, wait on you.
All right, now. So we will start. I wonder how many people watch this and really think we hate each other.
A lot.
I mean, 'cause I do. Like, I really don't like you guys.
Yeah.
But all right. So anyway, Jessi, how are you?
Yes. All right.
Good. All right. So let's start with this, and this is pretty simple.
Okay.
How many times have you been called not a real libertarian in this time? Because if it's not at least 3 or so by real libertarians, then you're not one. Change your party affiliation, go run as whatever it was you were before. Okay. So if you've never been called not a real libertarian, drop out of the race now. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
are you starting to see the difference? Because you mentioned that you went from involved with the party to being a candidate. Are you seeing
Right.
the differences there?
Yeah, a little bit. It's different. Where within the party, you do kind of get into the, not a real libertarian, or that you're a statist or not a statist and everything. It's really not that way whenever you're campaigning for party office. They mostly just are curious. At least that's what I've run into. It's either they've already made up their mind and they've got a preconceived and often very incorrect notion of what a libertarian is, or they're just like, oh, I've heard of the Libertarian Party before, but tell me what that means. And those are the best conversations, right? Where you get to actually, do a bit of education and see those light bulbs go off in people's heads, being like, oh yeah, that actually sounds pretty great.
What's your lead in once you hear that? Because ultimately I'm going to ask you, how is it being received in that area? But what is your lead in when somebody says, hey, what is a libertarian? Because Eric and I had to deal with this. Because when we ran for office here, most time people don't know who we are. And so
Right.
we always have this different attack. I think we all kind of have this different way. And one time I put it out there. I put out the old way that we would say that kind of I'm a fiscal conservative and a social liberal. And then one time I said that, and I'm telling you, Spike, what do they call that? They booked me or whatever they call that, when they're trying to dog you out without dogging you out by name. So
Yeah.
he did that. And I'm like, dude, so when somebody says that, how do you respond to that?
Yeah, I really just say that we're the live and let live party. So I do kind of somewhat frame it like you were talking about, Tub, where you got to meet people where they are and kind of talk in terms that they're comfortable with, right? The parlance of the times, right? So
Right.
I will say that we're obviously fiscally responsible, very fiscally conservative, if we want to use the conservative terminology. But we are a little bit more socially compassionate than I would say some Republicans are. And so I really just kind of say that, if you really want to take the best of the Republican Party and the best of the Democratic Party and put those things together, that's the Libertarian Party, which is not the best way to describe it if you're, kind of talking in libertarian circles. But again, whenever you're talking to folks that are curious about libertarianism, and you kind of have to, again, meet them where they are, that's the way that I frame it. And just it's a good opportunity also, as I always say, to talk about the non-aggression principle. So just basically saying, the non-aggression principle is the cornerstone of our philosophy. It's basically don't start none, won't be none. If you're not harming a person or property, then c'est la vie. The government shouldn't have any say in what you're doing if person and property isn't being harmed. And 99% of the time, people will nod their heads and say, yes. And then there's the but what about this? But what about this? And then you get to the single issue voters. And that's where you really get into the meat and potatoes of the conversation.
Right. And that's when, but then once again, like you said, you kind of figure out who you're talking to.
Exactly.
You kind of go,
yeah.
And like when we would do that, we're not selling out. We're being honest about no, really. Like I often tell people well, as you're running, you'll know that if you're meeting with a certain group, like we can get invited to Republican and Democrat events. Mm-hmm. Like, remember, Eric, we got a bunch of that when we were here in town. Yeah. And so what we're able to do is we're able to kind of speak to that group, whichever one. Yep. And we're not lying about who we are. Like, we're being very honest about, hey, this is who we are. And, now you kind of get with one group, you say, okay, well, I don't want to discuss. Like you don't get with what you don't get with the Democrats to start talking about, hey, we want to take away government from helping you. And they're like, whoa, we don't want that. So
you don't give
quick,
them unsolicited ammunition against yourself. You know
right.
what I mean?
You kind of walk that line. So describe your district specifically. And then inside of that, kind of what are the big issues for that district?
Yeah.
And,
so go ahead.
I was going to ask, could you kind of describe the makeup of your county and the race and where it's located and all that too?
Don't pretend like all of a sudden you know what's going on. Asking people questions.
I too want to know about the specifics of your district. I don't want to be left out of this one. Great question.
Guys, those are good questions.
Yeah.
Very good stuff.
So Montgomery County, so I am in the Houston metro area, right? So Houston sits in Harris County, huge county, bigger than some states. And Montgomery County is the county directly north of Harris County. So we're still considered part of the Houston metro area. So I'm like in the North Houston suburbs, if you will. And so I live, House District 15 is in the southern part of Montgomery County that actually borders Harris County. In this part, the biggest, I guess, city, if you will, it's not actually like a incorporated city, but the Woodlands is a big part of House District 15. I live in Oak Ridge North. There's also the city of Shenandoah, and it's a fairly affluent area. So I would say the median income is about $97,000 here. Average house price, I think, is like $346,000. So it's a fairly affluent area, but you wouldn't know it because people are actually struggling here. And that kind of goes back to the question that you were asking, like, what is the biggest issue affecting Montgomery County right now? And it's affordability. It's the same thing across the entire country. It's being taxed and out of our, well, not necessarily out of our homes, but, just overtaxed. Property taxes is a huge issue here. Montgomery County property taxes have been growing by leaps and bounds. Average homeowner is paying probably $2,000 more in property taxes per year than they were 5 years ago, and then small business owners anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000. So it's a big problem here in Montgomery County, and that's why property taxes is really the number one issue that I'm hitting in my campaign.
All
now,
right.
what do you think?
So,
what do you are you? Oh, go ahead. By all means,
we got to get to a quick commercial break.
Sure. We don't have any sponsors, dude.
Yes, we do.
Well,
first of all, I know this is related to our guest here by the name, but if you ever say that again, I'm gonna block you. I only need block people that try to dox me or stuff, but don't ever come on my show and say Free is right about anything, because that's anything. All right, so with that being said, we want to put up this link right here, which is cowardfortexas.com/donate. As we say on the Black Powder Podcast, put your money where your memes are. Don't be about it, see about it, because even if you're not in District 15 in Texas, you can give $5, $10, $15, $20 to a libertarian that is trying to show the American people there is a viable third option. So with that being said, once again, it's cowardfortexas.com/donate. Please give what you can. We're going to be breaking for these commercials throughout the podcast because we're trying to get this done over here. So, and it takes money. So we're not asking you to sacrifice too much. Just kick in, homie. All right. With that being said,
real quick, can I piggyback off Tubbs' last question?
Sure.
And Jessi, could you talk about the political makeup of this race? Does it lean Republican, lean Democrat, 50-50, that sort of thing?
Yeah, no, it leans pretty heavily Republican. The interesting part about this race is that it is without an incumbent. So House District 15 rep right now is a gentleman named Steve Toth. You may have heard of him because he is now running for U.S. Congressional District 2 and recently primaried Dan Crenshaw. So
Yep, Dan Crenshaw.
Yeah, so I'm running for his spot. So it's a pretty red county. The Democrats haven't really played in Montgomery County for a while. They are playing in this race, though. I think they're testing the waters again in Montgomery County, but it is a three-way race, but it is a heavily red county. So the gentleman that I'm running against, his name is Brad Bailey, the Republican, and then there is a Democrat candidate named Monica Scott. So three-way race, but it is a heavily Republican district.
So this is a difficult question, and I'm going to ask it point blank. Don't take it disrespectfully.
Yeah.
But would you consider it a win if you beat the Democrat but didn't win the election? Or do you got a percentage you're looking for? Or do you think you can win this outright?
Yeah, no, I'm in it to win it. But I've got a healthy dose of realism. Yeah, absolutely would consider it a win if I beat the Democrat. I would absolutely love to cover the spread, force a runoff. I think that would be huge. I would love to win the race, but if I can shake things up here in Montgomery County, get people more, looking towards the Libertarian Party, do a little bit of education and awareness along the way, build name recognition, and maybe next time I run, maybe I would be more successful. So I'm not going to be outworked, I'll tell you that. So
that's good.
I'm not going to rest on my laurels, but yeah, I would definitely consider that a win if I was able to come in second or again cover the spread.
We got our first donation
Marcus,
here.
Yeah, we got one. Put it up.
Thanks,
and put her
Reed.
link back up there. Put the link back up there, because what she just said right there, she's not going to be outworked, but I want you guys to understand these political races can be done without fundraising. I know it's the ugly part of politics, but it has to happen. If everyone here in the comment section just sent her $20, this might be the most successful day she's had in her political campaign so far. I don't know. Maybe she's doing great in fundraising, but every little bit helps. And we're only going to move this message forward by doing it this way. So,
right. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Absolutely. We just kicked off a digital marketing campaign just yesterday. So that's was a big investment. We are doing decent from a fundraising perspective, but I would just say for folks that are watching and maybe considering a donation, like that money is going to use. We are hitting the digital ads. It is going to be hot and heavy. The Texas Senate race is very heated. They are taking up a lot of the advertising inventory. So I'm going to need to buy every single little spot that I can get to get my message out. So just know that money is being put to use.
Right. Tub.
Okay. So going back now because you mentioned property taxes.
Yeah.
Now listen, we are in the almost free state of Florida here. And so, almost free state. And so are you on team remove property taxes?
Team, yeah, I'm on team remove property taxes, but I think that it needs to be a path, right? So one of the things that a lot of people don't know about Texas is that we have a huge budget surplus, like a $24 billion budget surplus. And that's not counting our rainy day fund or supplemental appropriations bills that got passed in the last legislative session. We have more money than the legislature knows what to do with, and we're starting to see them spend it that way. But what I would love to do is use that $24 billion budget surplus, put that towards buying down M&O debt from school districts, doing some real compression, and being able to move the needle so that we can get us on a path to property tax elimination. I would love to eliminate it outright. I think probably a 5-year plan is going to be a little bit more easier to swallow for some of the folks in Texas. Texas likes to do things incrementally, but yeah, if we could actually apply compression.
Describe what would be that 5-year plan.
Yeah. So I mentioned the using the surplus to buy down the debt. Sorry, I got a frog in my throat. 2 seconds.
No worries. Yeah.
Excuse me. Okay.
That happens when you look at Tub. So this all of our guests. Just go ahead.
All right, yeah. So buy down the M&O debt, but the other piece that it absolutely has to happen, and honestly, no property tax plan is worth its salt if it doesn't include this, is reining in government spending, particularly at the local level, because that's where we are getting hit the hardest. School districts are the biggest part of the property taxes here in Montgomery County. So I think that we need to rein in local spending. So I would support a bill that supports putting in limits on local spending. The state of Texas has 5 spending limits, 4 constitutional, 1 statutory. Local governments in Texas, 0, no limits whatsoever. And I'm not talking about anything crazy. Like, I'm in favor of decentralization too. I don't like top-down approaches to things, but I feel like this is an exception to the rule where we actually do need to put spending limits on local governments. And I think it's, something like, population plus a rate of inflation or something like that, something reasonable where we can actually start reining in that government spending, because if you're doing the compression, but the spending continues to rise,
it doesn't work. Yeah.
Then it's all for nothing. Yeah.
So what are some ways that you believe that right now, knowing what's going on, what are some ways that you believe they could cut back on spending? What are some areas where you go, hey, you guys are a little top heavy here, we could clean this out?
Oh yeah. Well, prime example, last legislative session, there was a bill, Senate Bill 22, wherein the Texas legislature decided to commit $1.5 billion over the next 10 years to Hollywood filmmaking in Texas.
Oh my God.
Keep California in California. We don't want your California.
Yeah. Corporate welfare. That's all it is.
Fourth largest economy in the world. Just by the way, I just wanted to.
But listen,
hey, keep your economy out of Texas.
All right, so let me ask you this real quick then. So how do you counter, because the argument right now, which you probably heard, is if you remove property taxes, how's the local counties, how are they going to raise money to cover their, because we got to understand there are some expenses that government's going to have, period. Even if you cut out all the junk. So how do you counter that?
Yeah. And I mean, just to say it, I'm not arguing for no services whatsoever, but the problem is that the rate of the property taxes are increasing higher than the services that they're supposedly providing to us. So, yeah, I mean, I would support, certain things, from an infrastructure perspective, things like that. So, I mean, just I'm not an anarchist. I know that's not going to sit well with some of the watchers, but yeah,
you're what now?
Sorry.
No. I didn't. Sorry, Tub. I'm trying to interrupt.
Okay.
Did you say I am not an anarchist, or I am?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not an ANCAP. I'm sorry.
I don't think any of us here are ANCAPs, but
no.
I'm
non-denominational libertarian. D asked if you.
I'm a minarchist. I'm probably just a constitutional libertarian. I don't know.
D asked, do you have a PayPal link on for PayPal for your donate link yet?
I do not. I don't know that's, but it is.
It's all good.
/ donate, but I don't know that I've got PayPal or anything specific like that set up.
Just donate.
Find a way. Just do it. All right. So let me go back. Are you doing another commercial now? If so, can you dance next time, or sing it, or something? Sing a jingle. Like next time you do the commercial, Marcus, I need you to dance or sing or something.
Look, man, we're not doing this minstrel show BS on this podcast.
Whoa.
This is a legitimate libertarian podcast.
We're not.
Now, if you asked me to sing, I would sing.
I did. I said dance or
Marcus.
sing. I said it. All right, now hang on. I'm going back for a second, and then Marcus, and you can pretend like you're on here with us.
Then Jessi, you request the song Marcus is supposed to sing.
I just watched Sound of Music last night, so let's keep it within that genre.
No.
Listen, you may have your libertarian card, but you're gonna quickly lose your black card. I'm just gonna tell you that right now.
If you sing Sound of Music, you're out.
We went over this earlier. Paper Sack Brown. Back to you, Jessi.
Paper Sack Brown.
You can only
card.
sing the
Paper Sack
Wiz.
Brown.
That's it. That's all you can sing.
Wow.
Yeah. But Tub, did I answer your question around the property tax?
So what I wanted to know is, so
we're all goofing off.
I know. So how do you explain to them? We say, hey, I get if we remove these funds, here's how we can make this right. Because we're going through this right now in Florida. And Eric will tell you, I've had a plan to get rid of property taxes for years.
Like and then Ron DeSantis stole it.
So inside of here, what we're happening, and maybe it's similar to your area, I don't know. So what's happening with us is the concern that, okay, if they remove property taxes, our counties are going to start going without. And then they're talking about there'll be a sales tax increase or whatever. They're going to find a way to offset it. The problem that comes with that is for us in Tallahassee, that all of our money now would go to Tallahassee in a state tax or something, sales tax or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then we got to basically beg to get some money back again. And we know it's the same thing we do with DC right now. We send all of our money to DC and the states beg to get it back again. And it gets filtered out based on who they like or who they don't like or what's going on. So how do you offset that when they say, because it's a real complaint, it's a real issue when people say, if you do that, how are we going to make up for the services that we do agree that we want?
No, I mean, I think it's just kind of cutting back the spending. So I think it's going to be a tightening of the belt. I think there's a lot of nice to haves that are part of county budgets, state budgets. And I think it's going through with the fine tooth comb and deciding what's a need versus a want. I think the other part of it, like as far as the sales tax thing goes, I think that probably is part of the solution. And honestly, and not necessarily a sales tax increase. I don't want to rob Peter to pay Paul, but I do think that once we do get to a point where we are able to eliminate property taxes, kind of shifting that over to a sales tax is going to be the way to go, because it's transparent, right? Like you can, you know what that is. It's not based on, you know, arbitrary appraisals or, you know, things like that. So I do feel like a sales tax would be the more transparent and certainly more palpable way to go versus property taxes, where, you know, you've got people who, number one, you never truly own your homes. You're paying rent to the government in perpetuity on property that you already own. But then too, you know, you've got people who are being taxed out of their homes because they can't afford to pay their property tax bill. Maybe not necessarily in Montgomery County, but certainly in Texas broadly. So yeah, I would definitely support kind of transitioning that over to a sales tax. But again, that comes with reining in the spending, and it comes with going into the budget and really determining the needs versus wants.
Now, doesn't that incentivize government for civil asset forfeiture when the money is not, they have a harder time projecting how much money is going to be coming in?
No.
Don't get me started on civil asset forfeiture. That is legal.
That's exactly what I wanted to do.
Hey, Marcus has Jesse's page pulled up right now, don't you?
Okay, all right. So you know where I'm coming from on this. No, I mean, civil asset forfeiture, and I know we're kind of switching gears here from the property tax, but
send it.
Yeah, it's the funny thing about civil asset forfeiture, especially in Texas, is that it's presumably a nonpartisan issue. If you look at the Republican Party platform, the Democrat Party platform, the Libertarian Party platform, all of the major parties in Texas are against civil asset forfeiture. In every single session, somebody writes a bill to eliminate civil asset forfeiture. In every single session, it dies. And it is the most infuriating thing because it's something that we all presumably agree on. But yeah, there's absolutely no reason that civil asset forfeiture should exist. I think a lot of people are confused about the difference between civil asset forfeiture and criminal asset forfeiture. I realize I'm talking to libertarians and probably a libertarian audience, but for the benefit of maybe some viewers who don't know what civil asset forfeiture is, basically this is where the law enforcement can seize your property before you've even been convicted of a crime, just based on, I mean, not even based on probable cause. Like the burden of proof is so low in the statute that it's absolutely absurd. So basically what we're saying is there should be no civil asset forfeiture. If there has not been a criminal conviction, then the law enforcement has no right to steal your car, your property, your dollars or guns or whatever was in your vehicle at the time, just based on their supposition of what you may have been doing. So That
Yeah.
I feel very strongly about that one.
Well, I'm going to
So-
add one caveat to that real quick, and then I'll pass it to Eric. There are a few states, I think California is one of them, where they outlawed local law enforcement from doing civil asset forfeiture. What happened next is they call up the feds and say, "Hey, we got this," and the feds seize it, and then the feds kick down about 30% of what they seize back to
wow.
that local law enforcement. So it needs to go beyond just saying local law enforcement agencies cannot take your crap and tell you to kick rocks or spend $25,000 on a
Yeah.
lawyer to get back maybe $8,000 worth of property.
Yeah.
And you know, that's typically how it works. And the fact that the government actually stole more through civil asset forfeiture than actual, well, I can't even say actual criminals because they are actual criminals. The government and its fellow criminals has superseded its fellow illegitimate criminals that don't wear uniforms in taking assets from the American people, which it's a personal beef of mine. It truly
Yeah.
pisses me off. So,
Absolutely.
Well, and that kind of segues to, like, how do we hold the people accountable? And what I'm saying is, like you say, all three parties in your race say in their party platform, hey, we're against this, but all these people we've elected have allowed it to happen. How can you as a candidate, I guess, educate and inform and bring, if the other parties see you gaining traction with this issue, they might actually start moving in that direction, right? Like, that's our goal as candidates as libertarians is to win the election. But if that doesn't happen, we want them to adopt our ideas, right? So,
Right.
If how do we hold them accountable is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. No, I mean, just remind them, like, hey, it's already in your party platform, and just kind of force the issue. It's one of those things where, you know, civil asset forfeiture doesn't get talked about a lot, but it's just one of the most egregious things that takes place, and it keeps dying again in the Texas legislature, and it's so infuriating to see it. I don't know how familiar you are, guys, with Texas politics, but basically the law enforcement lobby in Texas is like,
yeah,
APAC. Like, it's
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's
Texas loves their cops. That's for
what's cool is
big
all of a
dog.
sudden
but somebody has to talk about it and platform the issue, and that's why I wanted to do it.
I would say all I know about Texas politics is Steve Perry's for psychedelics. That's cool, right? Is that the former governor, Steve Perry? Was that his name?
Steve Perry.
Steve Perry. Rick Perry.
Rick
Perry.
I was
like,
was the singer from Journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. One of them Perrys.
Rick
Perry,
right?
I bet both of them are for psychedelics. And
wait. Hold on. I'm confused here. So former Governor Rick Perry of the state of Texas is for psychedelics?
Yeah. Dude,
well, that makes sense because he was kind of loopy in a lot of the stuff he did. So
all right,
now I know why.
Look it up.
Now I think you're thinking of Steve Perry.
Yeah, Steve, Nick, Rick. Either way.
Well, who the hell now? Kenneth is chiming in from the great state of Oklahoma. Joe Perry is the best Perry. We're not having
Perry.
We're not going to have a Perry contest here. This is about
are.
Jessi.
Here it is.
No, this is about Jessi. And
I digress.
I can't even see
as far as
Jessi's
civil
girl.
asset forfeiture, just to come full circle on that, like statewide law enforcement, they've basically, the agencies, the prosecutors, they've brought in roughly 40 to 50 million annually through state asset forfeiture. It's a problem, and somebody has to talk about it. Might as well be me.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Tub.
Is it my turn? Okay.
Next question.
All right. So I'll do two here. One is I think I asked it, but we kind of got lost in all the stuff. See, there it is. That's how we get lost in the stuff. How is libertarianism being accepted in your area? I know we started talking about, hey, when we come across it, but how are they doing with it?
It's good. I'm sticking really to the economic topics. I'll slide in the civil asset forfeiture because once you explain it to somebody, it's kind of a no-brainer. But kind of sticking to the economic topics is really what I've been doing in my area, and really just trying to stay away from the culture war stuff. It's too volatile. People can't speak. And I fall into it too sometimes, right? Like, people, you will just get into their emotions whenever they talk about certain issues. So really just kind of talking about property taxes and spending and really focusing on affordability is really been what's been, I think, where I've made the most ground in my conversations.
All right. So what is one thing that you find yourself completely disagreeing with the Republican candidate you're running against, and one thing that you completely disagree about with your Democrat that you're running against?
Oh, yeah, I can tell you Republicans right off the bat. One of the things that they did. So for everybody's awareness, the Texas Republican Party had their state convention a couple of weeks ago, and it was actually here in Houston. And one of the things that they put in their platform is about IVF. And they are going so far as to call IVF a destructive practice, and basically, trying to ban or restrict women's access to IVF whenever they're struggling to conceive. And I feel very strongly about that. I mean, I know friends and family who have gone through that struggle. I have seen the emotional and physical and financial toll that takes on families who just want to create a family, want to be parents. And for a for a political party to want to use the arm of the government to take that away from them is just the saddest damn thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. All right, now what about the Democrat?
Democrats, yeah, I would say definitely want to pull back on some of the programs, right? So we've got some programs that are probably being misused. I think that whenever we talk about going through budgets with a fine-tooth comb and identifying, wants versus needs, I think a lot of some of the programs are wants, right? They're full good things. I don't know that they're necessarily needed, but I would say that
now
Democrats
is that generic Democrat, or is that something that the person you're running against is specifically mentioning?
No, the person that just to say it, the Democrat that's in my race has been pretty quiet. I think that she's really more of a paper ballot candidate more than anything else. I've seen her one time. So there's not a lot that she's really kind of saying and putting out there. So whenever I do say that, Tubit, yeah, it is kind of generic Democrat because she hasn't really taken a stand on a whole lot. I really think that this is kind of a testing the waters race, just to kind of see.
Do you feel the IVF issue? Do you feel like the IVF issue is getting into more of the social issues, or no?
I do a little bit, but I think that also, in Montgomery County, we have a lot of women voters. We have a lot of women, in that, over 40 range, that, have, maybe decided to have children late in life. They prioritize their career early on because that was the thing for us, right? Going back to the Zennial thing, right, Marcus? We're don't be dependent, build your career and everything. And hey, that's the way I raised my daughter too, just to say it. But I mean, I think we're seeing, I think I read something the other day that for the first time ever, pregnancy in women over 40 has surpassed teen pregnancy.
Yep. That's impressive.
And I whenever I saw that, I was like, oh, that's insane. And then I thought about it and I was just like, but that makes sense because
that's honestly
you have two generations of women of that.
I don't know how. I think that's a good thing, but I want to point out this irony in you saying that the GOP was against IVF. However, Trump was for taxpayer funding of IVF. Like, is that not hypocrisy on its biggest level?
Yeah. No, they can't get their story straight. And the funny part about it is,
did you say Trump and hypocrisy in the same sentence? How's that possible?
yeah, color me shocked, right? But yeah, no, but even just this week, so the Republicans, they came out with the, kind of the anti-IVF thing in their platform, and then Ken Paxton, who
Oh my!
amazed me and
Yeah.
making me agree with him. He came out and he said that he was in favor of IVF. So he basically was going against what the Republicans were saying. And I was just like, oh, well, what do you know? Even the most corrupt politician in Texas can get it right every now and then. And then this week he has done an about face. So I think that, I guess maybe his donors slapped his hand and said, no, you can't support IVF, Ken. So he's done an about face on that.
Never mind.
In your area, is the IVF issue a religious issue?
I don't think so. No, I
Okay.
mean, I mean, like I said at the, the kind of the top of the conversation, I live in a fairly affluent area, so I live in an area where people can actually can afford to get IVF. We have multiple IVF centers here in our area. I know I have friends who have, that are, got kids that are, 6-7 years old because it took them that long to be able to conceive. It's, some people do it because they waited by choice, but some people do it because they just have tried for years and years and years. And I just don't think that the state of Texas has any standing, any ground whatsoever to take this option away from men and women who want to be parents.
That's actually what I was going to ask
about
if when you get in office, if this is something you'd be like, hey, we need to just leave this alone. This is a private issue that needs to stay private.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, hey, puppies.
Tub, is that your stance, Pastor Tub?
Well,
actually, yeah. So that's the reason why. Hold on, I'm trying to figure out. My dog decided to just bust into the door. I don't know if you could just see her. Look at her. She's just roaming around.
Hey, she's cute. Leave her alone. Never mind. All right,
that is a
Jessi.
cute dog. Look.
Well, hold on real quick because
I'm not gonna lie. That's a cute dog. Come on.
This is not normal, but we need this planned for every podcast. All right. Anyway,
basically, government should never, ever, ever be in these three places at no point: your wallet, your kitchen table, and your doctor's office. And you can always expand on that. But the fact that somebody wanting to bring a child into this world, specifically into the United States, with the birth rate declining as such, this is like shooting yourself not in the foot, but like in your dominant hand. Yeah, I mean, this is beyond stupid that we even have to have this discussion. Government should not be telling you what your family can or can't be, as long as you're not touching kids or the standard protocol and whatnot. But it is amazing to me that we even have. I think the best policy for libertarians is to always stay out of culture wars, because that splintered our party as it is. And it doesn't have any economic or social benefit for anybody, because if you're not taking your kids to go see a show, whatever, or whatever else they want to say is a social issue, that's your business. You don't have the right to tell people who they can associate with. So that being said, who's next? Is it Eric or Tub?
Tub, I think I had some follow up.
So actually, it's somewhat unrelated. I know you were trying to find out my thing about it, but is immigration an issue for your area?
I think probably like 92% of the folks in Montgomery County are citizens. So it's not really a huge issue here. I have heard that there has been ICE sightings in Montgomery County at the, Home Depots and things like that. So I don't know that it's been in House District 15 in the southern part of the county. I don't think it's been a huge issue. Maybe in the northern part of in the eastern part of the county, maybe more so. But it's it hasn't been a particularly hot button issue in this part of the county now. As far as the voters go, like I said, it's a very red area. So I think that the voters are probably, in favor of some manner of enforcement, maybe not to the extent that we have seen, or
But I mean, ultimately,
certainly not the detention centers, but yeah.
But once you get into office, it's going to be an issue because it's Texas still. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be brought up.
Now, it's going to come up. We're a border state.
Yeah, exactly. So let me just clear this up, because the people who watch this show, mostly free, and people like free, they're idiots. They're just idiots. So inside of being idiots, listen, that's a TV. That's a window. Okay. Listen, I don't know what's so hard about this. Like, look.
I'm sorry.
TV.
Listen.
I'm sorry, Jesse.
No.
If y'all keep beating Tub up for where he's recording from, Duval County building inspector is going to show up in his yard.
Yeah, shut up. I know. Y'all leave it alone.
Yeah.
Listen.
Shut up.
Hey, how do you feel? Hey, Jesse, how do you feel about if somebody on their property wanted to build a tiny house or something? How do you feel about that they should have to pull permits or anything?
Yeah, no, people should be able to do whatever they want on their property, whether it's build a tiny house, have, 50 chickens, or, your property is your property. If you're not harming another person, or you're not harming somebody else's property, then it's fair game. That the government shouldn't have any say whatsoever. So I live in a small little incorporated city called Oak Ridge North, and we do not have a homeowners association, and that is a feature, not a bug. Obviously those are voluntary organizations. I'm not anti-HOA, but that's part of the reason that I decided to live here, is because I want to be able to do what I want to do, and I don't want some code enforcement Karen coming around and asking me why I'm building an awning onto my back porch or something like that,
I have an HOA. They are communists. I hate them. I wanted to ask you,
Marcus for HOA president 2020.
Yes, he does need to run for president.
I had no idea how bad it was when I chose it. That was 23 years ago.
That's a new see, there's a
run for HOA president.
There's a difference between HOAs and government. See, you got to understand that they're HOA. You chose that. Like, hey, you moved in. It happened. You didn't want it. Don't move in the area.
I didn't know. I'm pleading ignorance.
Does it to you. There's a
That's true. That's true. But I'm pleading ignorance because this is the first house I bought, and I had no idea because I bought it for my brother-in-law. At any rate, I wanted to talk about.
I'm just kidding.
Well, one of my
shout out to the listener who knows about Oak Ridge cops.
Well, that's Casey. I believe it's Casey.
All right.
I just wanted to ask you just to get some lightheartedness in so people can see your personality. Do you know one of my favorite libertarians from the state of Texas in El Paso, Ryan Woodcraft? Yeah, he's such a great guy.
No.
Oh, I know. Oh, yeah. I
we are not talking about Ryan.
Y'all's truth.
My bad, Chris.
While we were in Grand Rapids, and then y'all are back on now, right, Tub?
Has Ryan Woodcraft officially endorsed you? Because I don't see him in the comments.
Yeah. What?
Huh?
Are you done talking about him?
Huh?
Are you done?
Hey.
Well, apparently you have an ally in Rob Yates.
Hey.
And I'm
DJ
Yellow.
I like Rob.
Yeah, you have an ally. He said he's a sociopath.
That Woodcraft's a sociopath? Good.
Yeah.
There we go.
What happened to Eric?
Somebody gets. So we dropped Eric. We got rid of Eric. That's all we had to do to get rid of Eric was just walk to the door. I done that a long time ago.
He disconnected. He's still here in the back. But at any rate, yeah, I love Ryan Woodcraft. We had him on and he won his race. So I'm hoping that magic transforms into for your victory. Wow, everybody's just leaving us.
Everybody's leaving us.
Yeah.
Well, no, I appreciate that. I surely do too. So it was. All right,
and so this was Chris. It wasn't Casey. So my bad. Chris is in the state of Texas. We met at LP Tex Jesse. I was with Freeze Crew.
Gotcha.
That's not a flex. I don't know why people keep like giving free credit. Hold on. All right, welcome back.
Hey, how y'all been? It's a real pleasure to be on. I couldn't hear you, which is kind of a mixed blessing, in all honesty.
Yeah. Now Free's talking crap. This makes this show look so. Of course it does.
Listen, his show runs not because of him. Let's be very
Yeah,
clear.
it's all Terry.
It runs despite
Put
him.
it in reverse, Terry. I can't wait. That's coming up. Back up, Terry.
All right, so we're probably supposed to be covering more important things than that.
Great.
The more important things than free, I can tell you that.
Okay, so we covered eliminating property taxes,
Okay.
reining government spending, and civil asset forfeiture. We have 2 more topics that you have on yours, which we're going to start with defend the guard.
All right. Yeah.
Which is a
Yeah. Defend the Guard is a big one, and I love that is picking up so much steam around the country because it's another no-brainer, right? So for those who are watching who aren't familiar with the Defend the Guard movement, basically what this is saying is that we want to have legislation that states that our Texas National Guard cannot be called to active conflict whenever there has not actually been a declaration of war. So it's a big issue here in Texas. With our National Guard, we do have one of the biggest National Guards in the country. But we've also had situations where our National Guard wasn't here whenever we needed them. So we've had weather events where we actually needed our National Guard for disaster recovery, and they were in Ukraine. So it's definitely an issue that I want to make sure that I highlight. There was a bill that got introduced and died in committee last term, but I very much would like to author or even sponsor or co-sponsor a bill to enact Defend the Guard legislation so that our National Guard cannot be deployed without an actual declaration of war.
Eric, it's one of your things, isn't it?
Well, I was a reservist, but yes, so I would have been sent overseas either way. All I was going to say is, what?
You were. I was the one who stayed home. You went.
Yeah, no, I
You did
actually
go.
did go.
How many beers have you had tonight?
My point is, regardless if I was National Guard or reserves, I would have went either way. I was a reservist, not National Guard. Yes, this is important. I do want to point out, though, that I believe Trump ran on the fact that he was going to end the war in Ukraine. And by looking at my watch, it's still going on. So the Republican Party hasn't done anything to stop the war in Ukraine. They ran on this idea. They've done nothing to stop it. They continue to send our money. They continue to send your state troops, your National Guard over there. So it's not over. It hasn't stopped. Broken promises. That's all.
Yeah, Rob Yates, I want to get to this comment real quick. He says, Jessi, you're truly one of the best people we have in a party. I don't know how he just overlooked me, but we'll just keep it moving. He said, thank you so much for everything you do.
He said,
thank you, Rob.
And Rob, that was 3/5. You need to go back. That's your public education. Yeah, your public education is showing right now.
Okay,
all right.
You go with the 3/4, Terry.
Put it in reverse, Terry. Oh, I'm gonna keep saying that the rest of the night. I'm up there too.
Well, it is the 2nd of July, but you get one point.
All right, so back to Defend the Guard, if we may. So, Jessi, do the people around there even know about? Because I'm finding out now. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong in this, but I tend to only see libertarians pushing this from the way I see it. So, is it known around there? How do people feel about it?
Yeah, no, it's one of the things that I've been talking to people about. It's kind of like the civil asset forfeiture. It's one of those things where people don't know a lot about it. So it's an opportunity to kind of take an issue that isn't, really, big in the kind of the national public space or media, and give it a platform. And it's another one of those things where every time I talk about it with somebody, everybody's just like, well, yeah, that makes sense. I will say that, and obviously I'm running for state house. I'm not running for federal level. So some of the things that are going on, with the wars and everything like that, I'm not going to have a whole lot of impact on. But it is an opportunity for whenever they do bring that up to be able to connect those dots and say, like, hey, I'm not going to be able to affect change on, whether we're, fighting, declaring war on Iran or not, or, winning the war for the 38th time this week. But what I can do is I can, try to protect our National Guard and keep them home and make sure that our Texans don't get deployed into these frivolous conflicts. So that is a way that I'm able to kind of bridge that federal issue that I can affect change on it in the race I'm actually running.
I find that we, maybe specifically or especially as libertarians, we have a tendency to be able to find some of the more nuanced things. Maybe it's the tism in all of us, but so we find this nuanced thing. But so many times when we can just say, "Hey, look at this," and all it does is it gets people to start going, "Hey, wait a minute, I never thought of that." You know what I'm saying? And then, like you said, that often leads into the, okay, now I can talk about these other things. It's kind of like the hook, if you will. It's something you kind of make them go, dang it, you know what? I that never came into my mind. And now all of a sudden, once it's there, now we can move. It's kind of like what Eric was talking about before, was kind of shifting the Overton window a little bit.
Yeah.
You kind of bring some attention to it. And even though sometimes we don't have what's sitting on everybody's mind, get close. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because we have a lot of, like, not 3/4 of us, not Marcus, because Marcus doesn't leave the garage, but the rest of us.
I'm 3/5, not 3/4.
3/5. Well, in this case, you're 3/4. But inside of this, so like when we were running, like we would be able to get out there, mention some things that libertarians tend to believe. Now, here's what I'm gonna tell you. When I think both of us, when we were running locally, we never once mentioned end the Fed. Like we just didn't. Not because we're fine with the Fed, but most people don't care. And so if you find the issue that they kind of like, okay, yeah, I can see this one. Now, listen, the other day I made a post on Facebook because Twitter's just a mess. And I'm old. And let me be very clear. Marcus is not a zillennial. Okay, he's not. Okay,
I'm Gen X. I readily admit that, but you're
you're not in that cusp. You're very much.
I'm close.
You're
close.
both
right on
boomers.
yeah.
No, you're close to the boomer side is where you are. All right. So inside this is that if we're able to get in there and cause and shift that window sometimes, and you've probably found that many times libertarians will talk about things that nobody cares about. And I think that hurts us. We focus on the wrong things. But I think that, like, actually Eric mentioned, well, first you said that DeSantis stole my property tax idea. But while we were running, we actually had, when we were running for city council, remember we had a number of forums that we went to, and the sheriff and the mayor candidates were all there too. And remember when TK Waters, I had a plan for the police, and I started mentioning it. And one night he was at a forum with us, and I mentioned it, and he took off with it. He started using, like, he changed the title of it, but the premise was the same. And I remember I've told people, and I say this all the time, I don't care. I don't care who gets the credit. I don't care. I don't care. If we can take our libertarian ideas and shift them in, and somebody does something about it, I don't care who gets the credit for it. Let's make it happen. So
100%.
If you can get to your people and go, hey, and spread that idea. So maybe if the Republican wins the race, how much, if you can get in there and he starts going, wait a minute, Jessi said this, dang it, that's pretty legit.
That's great. That's great.
And would you be open to not dropping out of the race, obviously, but after saying, hey, we worked on this, let me get in with you and let's work on some other things. Because I think that's a way that libertarians
on a committee or
I mean, I would welcomed the opportunity to have a sit down and, consult and, kind of say, hey, here's, some things that I would like to see the Republican Party do better. Just a couple of weeks ago, like I said, we were having the state convention here in Houston, or not we, the Republicans were having their state convention. And I actually went out to a social event with the Republican Liberty Caucus and met with them and talked with them. We had a lot of a good conversation around Defend the Guard, about ending taxpayer funded lobbying, and really just kind of said like, hey, obviously we can't work on electoral issues, guys. Like we're different political parties, but there's nothing that says that we can't, partner together on single issue coalitions in the legislative space. So that's something that's already being talked about is, as we're looking forward next year to our, 90th legislative session, maybe we could, work on, Defend the Guard together, or ending taxpayer funding lobbying, things where we are aligned. Those are opportunities, and, specifically just in, lobbying and, doing legislative action at the Capitol, understanding that, when it comes to the electoral space, like we can't play in each other's sandboxes.
So real quick, I went to one of the Republican Liberty Caucus meetings here in Jacksonville, and I sat in there and I'm like, these are just Warhawk Republicans. Like they're sitting in there, everything was pro-Trump, everything was, hey, we got to have this.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, and so I didn't know if yours was like that, because that's how
it was.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
The vibe I got was they're Republicans that love guns. That was it. They're just 2A Republicans. Like, well, that should be every Republican.
Right. That shouldn't be an issue. Yeah. I went there, and it was a mess.
2A Republicans.
Like,
that was it.
My wife is a Republican, and we were sitting in there, and even she was like, wait a minute. It was so far. I'm like, this isn't liberty. Let's be very clear. This is not liberty. All right, Mark, you said there were 2 issues. What was the other one now?
Well, we got to get to this quick commercial break real quick.
Oh, what are you singing?
Oh, dang. You put me on
there it is. Cowart for Texas.com.
Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens. At any rate, no, I'm not going. This is all about Jessi. And so this is her webpage again for a donate. Listen, if you're tired of Democrats and Republicans, that's my Donald Trump.
That was terrible. Anyways,
listen.
Here
we go.
Donald Trump.
No, he sucks too.
All right, I'll say it.
Cowart for Texas.
Giving it Jessi Cowart. That'd be huge. Anyways, go ahead.
Huge. All right.
Huge.
And any huge. Next, someone pay Eric tab. Chris is just like letting Eric have it. I like that. So as we close this out, we want to get to this. I think this one's kind of important because this is where you save a lot of taxpayer money, which is over criminalization. If I could enunciate that correctly off my IPAs. But the government incentivizes its own existence. At least that's what I think. It justifies its own existence through a lot of victimless crimes. And Absolutely. They go out there and solicit crimes, and government goes out there and makes things illegal that have no bearing on your life or mine. So what is your plan for how do you present that to the voters of Montgomery County?
Yeah, it's really starting to have conversations with them and educate them on how much money is being spent to maintain our jails, and how much money it costs to keep so much law enforcement on the streets whenever they are out there, pulling people over for victimless crimes, or arresting people for victimless crimes. Just educating people about the incarceration rate, educating people about how, and this is an opportunity to kind of tie that into civil asset forfeiture too. If you're not being pulled over for something that's, victimless crime, then, you're not going to have your stuff stolen in the first place. Right. So really just kind of talking to them and, breaking down the numbers for them and helping them understand. I think too is, and particularly in Montgomery County where, people are very supportive of the law enforcement, helping them understand that this benefits law enforcement too. It's, if you're actually, letting law enforcement focus on the things that matter, actually focusing on violent crimes, things where, again, people or property are being, put at risk or being harmed in some way, then that's not only going to benefit the public, it's going to benefit the law enforcement community as well. They're not going to have to expend so much time and resources and have to militarize to be able to protect and serve. So really helping them understand that it's really a win-win for the public and for the law enforcement community, I think, is a huge part of the messaging.
Awesome. Tub, you want to go with your closing question, statement, whatever?
No, I got nothing. No. So in all reality, first, are we closing? Are we closing?
Yeah, this is, we're about to wrap up.
Oh, then Jessi, thanks for coming on. I know.
No.
Thank you.
You don't have any questions?
No, dude. No, look, I got my questions done.
Well, this is your closing statement or question.
No. So
that's what happens with boomers.
And I thought I'm not, for one thing, I'm not prosecuting her. For another thing, I thought my closing statement was, "Hey, geez, thanks for coming on, and hope to see you around on Facebook or Twitter or something." But like, I thought that's it, right?
No,
right,
if you whatever you're closing, right. Whatever you got for her, brother.
No, I don't know what to say now because I thought you were telling me you were done. So go ahead, Eric. Just go. I'm done.
Yeah, we'll come back to you. We'll come back to you.
I don't want to come back. I'm done.
And Tub, I'll show you how this works. Hey, Jessi, is there any way like we could help out? Anything your campaign needs? Are y'all looking for volunteers?
Yes. I'm so glad you asked. Yes.
Thanks. So show Tub up.
Yeah. So definitely. So you guys have done a great job plugging the donation link. So obviously, always looking for donations. We are putting that money to good use. I promise it's not just sitting there in a bank account. We are using it and we are grinding. But yes, we do need volunteers. So if you're in the Houston metro area, great. But even if you're not in the Houston metro area and you want to be a part of the campaign, we are going to be doing text banking and phone banking. You can do that from anywhere. So please go to the website. You can sign up to be a volunteer, or you can just email info@cowartfortexas.com. We'll get you plugged in. But whether it's, phone banking, text banking, or if you're actually, local and want to do more boots on the ground stuff, block walking, or just, banging in, yard signs, we can use all of it here over the next few months. Like I said, we're not going to be outworked. We are going to, play this game to win it. And we can use all the help we can get. So whether it's your time or your dollars, we sure do appreciate it. And we would very much welcome you to Team Cowart.
Now I'm going to go back to Tub because he looks frustrated and angry.
Is there any way? Normal? How can people? Do you need any help? Do you need any volunteers? Can people help you with your campaign?
No, we already covered that. You got anything else?
That's the one I was going to go with. So,
well, you should have said it when you had the chance. Marcus, what do you got?
No, I'm still going to give Tub an opportunity. You
got
nothing?
No.
He's done. I truly asked. Listen.
Go ahead. Ask your question
tonight. When y'all was busy playing around, I stayed focused. Wow. I got my answers.
Okay. Well,
okay. How about this? Okay. Is there anything that you say, hey, I would have liked to have brought this up real quick? Is there anything that you want to add?
No, I think we touched on pretty much everything that I really wanted to talk about this evening.
Probably
we covered a lot of ground.
It was probably my questions that made her say, no, I think we covered everything. All right. It wasn't you talking about being 3/5 of a citizen. And it wasn't whatever Eric was repeating my questions. I'll be very clear about this. I want to say my questions got us where we need to be.
Word. Okay, but what about my 3/5 and paper sack Brown comments? I think that was
those were very inappropriate.
Very instrumental to Jessi's future success, and I look forward to having her back on after she wins her race. Okay. At any rate, Jessi, tell the people your social medias, how they could reach you and talk to you and volunteer for you, all the details on that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So for volunteers and events, you can go to my website. It's up on the screen right now, cowardfortexas.com, cowardfortexas.com/contact if you want to get in touch for any kind of volunteer or event opportunities. So we do have that information up on the website. If you are local, I am going to be tabling at the Oak Ridge North Party in the Park on the 4th of July, this coming Saturday from 3 to 7. So come by my table if you are in the area. Would love to talk to you. But other than that, I will be doing a series of podcasts here over the next few months.
This is the best one you're
not
on.
as good as this one, though, obviously.
Yeah, thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
Well, don't let them hear you say that.
But I will definitely be out in the community and tabling and everything. So we do have an events calendar on my website, and we will be striving to keep that updated with all of the goings on and all of the places that I'm going to be. So keep up with the website, but then always have the cowardfortexas.com/contact if you ever have questions or want to get involved or have me come and speak somewhere. Would absolutely love to be on a panel or be a speaker at any of your events.
Awesome. I want to shout out Joe Hanush for booking you. That this your. I just,
Joe?
Yeah. I mean, we get
Joe.
Yeah, we get great guests on here, and you're in that long lineage. Our girl Addison won her lawsuit. The Republicans lost their lawsuit against her in Duval County, and
with prejudice.
Yes. Did you want to make a statement on that, or you got anything to say about that?
Oh no, yes.
Go fight win. Yeah.
Take it to the man.
Yeah, yes. Exactly. So, who do we have next week? We don't. I'm not worried about.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Just say you're done, Marcus. Just be done.
He's covering these.
I don't want this to end. This is so beautiful.
All right.
We had a great time. At any rate, this is going to
end it. Eric is going to fall out of that chair.
Jessi, thank you for coming on the show. It's been a blast. We think you're going to do great things there in Texas, the great state of Texas.
It's not the 4th largest economy in the world, but it is a great state because I was born there. So with that being said, I left voluntarily because I knew Ken Paxton was going to Quasimodo, as Chris said, was eventually going to come around. But with that being said, this has been the Black Powder Podcast, the only real libertarian podcast. I've one of your hosts tonight, Marcus Matthews, the only real libertarian. I want to thank Eric and Tub, but most importantly, we want to thank Jessi for her time and her efforts, because this is no joke. And I'm going to put this up there one more time for you people, because if you haven't chipped in, don't complain, because these are good people doing good things. And if you can't get $5, $10, $15, $20, then I understand to a certain extent. But at the same time, if you want to see libertarians win, we all have to start pulling the rope in the same direction. And that starts with donating to great candidates who have a shot at winning their races. And tonight we had one of those people on. So thank you very much, Jessi. This has been the Black Powder Podcast. Jessi, you have anything you want to tell the people as we let you go?
Nope. I had a great time. Thank you so much for having me on. And if anybody has any questions, please reach out through the website. I'm happy to have conversations.
Awesome.
So you going to close it or not?
Yeah, I was literally saying, as we always say when we close our podcast, live free
or die.
Die.
Yeah, it's just, that was horrible.